So this is a little tutorial I put together on the topic of delegation. So how to do it and when to do it, what is best practice there. So the first thing on delegation that we need, what is an absolute condition, that is we need right person, right seats. So if you don't have right person's right seat, it is very unlikely that you will be able to delegate. And if you delegate, it will come back on your table. So that means you need to have your accountability chart with the right structure, and each of the seats has to be right person, right seat. So that's an absolute condition. So once you have made sure that you have the right person, right seat, what can you do then to delegate, to free up your time? So what you do then, as second, is you just create a list of all the stuff you're doing. So that means you really take a piece of paper, if you want to have an Excel sheet or wherever you do it. So really write down what are you doing. So not your responsibility, not your functions, is what are you doing. That could be something like entering the tickets from my travel expenses in an Excel sheet. It could be one-on-one meetings with my team. It could be thinking breaks. It could be answering emails, whatever you feel. So you make a list, might be a long list, like 30 things, and behind everything you write what you kind of guess how long you spend each week on it. Could be like half an hour or 10 minutes, 1 hour, or even, I don't know, 3 hours if it's one-on-one meetings, stuff like this. So that's the starting point, this list. From there on, you have to decide out of this list, what are you delegating? So, like I like to draw this. This is your cylinder of time, and you have your projects on top, what we call rocks. And typically this stuff, what you have here, is coming out of the bottom, which is the repetitive work you're doing. And our goal is that you bring this line down in order to take on more projects that bring the company forward, or on the other hand, to free up your time, because when companies grow, typically there will come more on your plate, and you have to have a routine on freeing up your time. So what do you do with this list? So we have two methods, two ideas, and how to filter this, how to decide what to delegate. And so the idea is as following. The first one is, we take it, is called delegate and elevate. You will find this tool in the leadership team manual of EOS, and really simple tool, looks like this, still really powerful. So you have a quadrant, and on the top left you put, I love doing it and I am really great at it. On the top right quadrant you put, I like doing it and I am good at it. And then at the bottom here left you put, actually don't like it but still good at it. And on the right it's don't like it and not good at it. So what you do then there is, you take your list, so what you have done here, and put it into this quadrants, whether here or there, etc. So you list wherever it falls. Hopefully you have more on the top than on the bottom. So on the left side, on the bottom, don't like and good. This is a miserable quadrant where you stay, you're good at it, you don't like, but people will give you more of it because you're good. And so what we want you to be more at this quadrant. This is what we call the elevate quadrant. and it's called Elevate to Your Unique Ability. This is what you really thrive at and what you love doing. And so the bottom quadrant is what we call the delegate quadrant. So this is really the quadrant what you want to delegate. So there you have a list of things what you can and should delegate. So this is the first idea. The second idea, put it here on the right, is really simple tool again. So what we need here is 2 axes, like this. And so on the bottom we put a money axis and on the vertical a time axis. And so without too much thinking, so this is not an engineering work, so you can spend a lot of time on it, and so you fill up your glass of time again. So this is just more a gut feeling. So you put in this quadrant, you put the list of tasks you have on top. So you go there and say like, okay, this is here, this is here, this is here, this is here, this goes here, that goes here. And so until you have what I said just here, until you have all your tasks you're doing with dots represented there. Once you have it, then it's really simple. So you take this and you draw a line through your dots. And what brings this up is this is the stuff you should be doing, and this is the stuff you should not be doing, you should delegate. Because it's not delivering the value it should to the company. So there you go, to have 2 decision-taking tools, what to delegate. And so once you have this, then the question is, what do you do with this? So do you have a list? So let's put it like this. So out of these tools, you have a list of things you want to delegate. So before you delegate, 1, 2, 3. So before you delegate, what we want to do then is 4. We want to run these tasks through the chain of delegation. That comes from the book Tim Ferriss, The 4 Hours Work Week. We all wish we had 4 hours work week. Still, the book is really good and the chain is also really good. So that means before delegating, run it or ask yourself if you like to the following things. So first thing is, can you eliminate it? That means we're doing a lot of stuff in companies, and being honest, not everything needs to be done. So ask yourself, is it truly necessary or can we eliminate it? Second, if you say, no, I can't, then the question is, can you simplify it? And simplify means sometimes it's so easy as if you, for example, send a newsletter out every week, ask yourself if it's really necessary every week. Maybe it's necessary only every second week. That brings down 50% of your time you spend on the task. Or you have a report to do and there are 15 lines of KPIs in, and maybe you can do 10 lines only. That means you have less time to spend on it. All this means simplification. If you say no way to simplify, then you can maybe automate something. And most of the time the answer is no, I don't have time. So just a little math on this. If you have a task which is 10 minutes a week, that means you do this every week. That's 50 weeks a year, and it's something you will be doing as you will be in the company for the next 3 years, let's say. So if you take this together, that makes a whopping 1,500 minutes, or with other words, that's 25 hours. And this is maybe where I say, like, oh yeah, maybe I can automate something. But if you say, no, there's no way I can automate, so no, again, there's a no, then really we come to the moment where you say, like, okay, let's delegate. And delegation, there are two things. So sometimes I hear, oh, I can't delegate this to my people. So that's the first thing, in-house. And the second is, maybe there are freelancers out. Yeah, think about freelancers. If you think about in-house, also here, if you say, for example, you have a team of 4 persons and you want to delegate 20% of your time, and you have 4 persons to delegate it to, and you have different tasks, that means like it's 5% for each of them. And maybe this is easier to handle than the 20%. And on the other hand, if you don't free up your time and you are overwhelmed, these 4 guys, they report to you, they will suffer from you not having time. So it's maybe a better choice to delegate something to them and then have time for them to help them do a better work. One thing I didn't say before delegation, so please ask yourself and do the work on eliminate, simplify, and automate, because if you don't do it, you delegate something, the person you delegate it to will automatically think, or most of the cases think, wow, that's relevant, that's important. This person delegated this to me. My boss delegated to me. It's rarely that will person come back to you and say, hey, I believe we can eliminate it. This person will kind of protect it. So please do the work upfront. Or if you feel you don't want to do it, delegate it with the order to ask to eliminate, simplify it, or automate it. So that's delegation, and if you feel still, no way, I can't delegate it, yeah, then we're coming to this nice symbol, which is the Nike symbol. That means just do it. Yeah. Not on this, but I have a nice blog post on my blog, which lists the 8 or 9 most common excuses why people say I can't delegate it. So if you feel like no way I can't delegate, maybe you can go back to this list and ask if it's truly not possible to delegate, because everything in the world is possible to delegate if you have the right persons in the right seat. So that's delegation, and so that brings us to the question. So from here, that list goes over there. So that brings us to 2 questions. That's number 5. So when to do this work, yeah, of thinking through what to delegate. So my recommendation is to do it once per quarter. So sit down once a quarter and think about how to free up your time, because if not, as I said, so your cylinder will look like this, more rocks coming, and then ideas and to-dos will go in and you will look like this. And that will mean you will burn out and your team will suffer, you will suffer, and that's not what you want. So it's your obligation to bring this line down, because more stuff will come. So once a quarter, and out of this you will have a list of stuff you want to delegate. And so then the question is 6, how to delegate this to the persons. So first thing, what you can delegate a task. So exactly as you have written it, for example, put the tickets into the system, you can delegate it. So you take the tickets, bring it to the person and say, here, do the task. A second thing sometimes is you can delegate a responsibility. That means I don't want to do the reporting, so all the reporting is delegated to the CFO, to the finance person, so this person will do it. Or third, you have so much stuff on your table that you need to create in the accountability chart a complete new function, and that will obviously free up the most time. For example, if you say, okay, I can't do marketing anymore, so I will delegate the whole role in marketing. So obviously the more you go into this direction, the more time gets freed up on your own plate. And so when you do this, then what you need to do is first you need to train the person on what you do. You can never ever just take the pieces and drop them on their table and say, here you go. You have to train them. Today there are really simple tools you can use. So exactly what I'm doing here. So I spent, I don't know what's now, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So you can create a video what you're doing. So record yourself on a screen, and so that means like you can do a video on it. You maybe have to sit down with the persons and do really a training one-on-one, but you have to figure out what you need to do to train the person on the job. And second, and this is the most overlooked pieces we have. So you need to create with this person a reporting loop. That means you have to figure out, so if not, you just drop the task and you don't have any idea if it's well done, is it done? And so you get this feeling of anxiousness about what is happening to the task and responsibilities I delegated. So you have to create this reporting loop. That means you have to figure out what you want to have reported, how you want it to be reported, and how frequently you want it to be reported. So this can mean that you will say, I will have 2 KPIs on the thing, 1 email, and how this is like it is an Excel sheet in Dropbox, and this is once per week. Or it could be what, an email, how by email, frequency, once a month. So, or even the both of them. So create a reporting loop on how you want to know on the stuff you delegated. And if you have this reporting loop, I don't know, maybe let's say like the ticketing system or the tickets, after 3 months, you would say, like, okay, this is in safe hands. You stop with the reporting loop. If you feel you need the reporting loop forever, so here it goes, you keep it. And so all this is the delegation, and I hope this helps. And I ask you, really sit down once a quarter, write it down, start delegating, and if you have any questions, I'm here to help also. I hope this helps. Have a great day.